I'd like to call to order the Talented Conservation Commission meeting for Wednesday, April 26th, 2023 at 7:20 p.m. I have a roll call, please.
Ann LeClaire.
James Gates.
Pat, do you want to announce that you're here?
Pat Jello.
This meeting is being recorded. Is anyone else recording? Chairman's additions and or deletions. Add 4.3 correspondence from the highway superintendent. 1.4 chair report. I do not have anything to add that is above and beyond the agent and admin's report. Review approved meeting minutes from 3/8/23. Did everyone have a chance to review them?
I read them today and make a motion that the, excuse me, the minutes from 3.38/23 be approved.
Second? Do we have it? Pat, do you second that?
Yes, second out.
Roll call vote, please.
Ann LeClaire.
James Gates, yes. Your turn, Pat.
Pat Jello, yes.
One point six, the agent's report. Hi, Jessica. Hi, Matt.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Matt.
Matt, do you mind reading that, please? Because I cannot access OneDrive.
Sure.
Thank you. Also, I have a crying baby about to explode in about 3 minutes. So,
All right.
thanks.
So, dates covered April 10th to April 21st. Building permit interdepartmental signatures for 13 Warren Road and 44 Emery Road. There were no referrals completed, no health interdepartmental signatures completed, no completed approvals. Applications, there is an NOI for 75 Pierce Road that was continued to tonight. Site visit was conducted on April 5th. There is an RDA for 114 Highland Street, intake and completeness review that will be on the May 10th agenda. There's an RDA for 12 South Street, intake and completeness review that will also be on the May 10th agenda. And there is a partial COC for tonight on 15th South Street. Miscellaneous, there is an enforcement order for 158 Main Street, compliance on go, and that will also be tonight. Review updates to Chapter 150 wetland regulations and advertising for public hearing. Coordination with resident at 12 Coppersmith Way for dead tree removal near wetland. 22 Sonora Road OOC status check-in and pre-con coordination. Invasive species wild and scenic grant coordination. E-permitting training. Coordination with resident at 280 Main Street for fence installation in riverfront area. Investigated anonymous report of excavator in wetlands on April 21st on South Row Road, and no concerns were observed. There was a status check-in of conservation approvals for 238 South Row Road in Squanicook Meadows, and there was a desktop review of 96/100 Fitchburg Road, which are neighboring properties. And that is it.
In your review, Matt, of 96/100 Fitchburg Road, did you have any findings to report of that were concerning or might cause concern?
I can talk now. Sorry, I don't know what is going on with my technology tonight. Yes, there was definitely a pond that has been there for at least, what did we say, 20 or 30 years, 20 plus years. That is no longer there. So I believe it was the resident, somebody associated with address 100 and not 96. But I'm going to send them a letter to get access to the property because I don't know if there's any like inlet or outlet hydrology that maybe was there. It's hard to tell from aerials, so that is
So
ongoing.
driving by after, I don't know, this was 2 weeks ago probably, you could tell that by closest to the road it is wet.
Mhm.
Uh-oh.
Matt, you heard that?
Yes, James. Yeah, okay, good to know. We're trying to reach out to the resident because like Jessica said, we think it's the person at 100 Fitchburg Road.
Okay.
So we're trying to get in contact with him and maybe go out there and go on a site walk, and see what we want to do from here.
That was a wetland.
Right. Yeah, like
Right.
it's not mapped, but it was very clearly a pond. Yeah.
Oh, yes. That was all filled in.
hmm
Mm-hmm.
All right, do you have anything else to add, Matt?
Nope. That was everything.
And Pat, do you have questions or anything about the agent's report?
No.
All right. Moving on, the 2.0 hearings and appointments, 2.1. Notice of intent, DEP number 308-0698, Townsend Wetlands bylaw number 2023-146, continued from 4/12. Applicants Mike Gray, Jack from Phyllis and Roy is here to represent him.
At the last hearing, we were still waiting for Natural Heritage, which the commission should have received a copy of the letter dated April 20th, 23. I did supply you with an extra copy tonight.
Thank you, Jack.
You're welcome. In under the Wetlands Protection Act section, the activity will not adversely affect the actual resource area habitat of the state protected rare life species, wildlife species, and under the MESA will not result in a prohibited take. So basically, Natural Heritage has come back and said that the work that's going on at that property is okay, and we're all set. So the other issue that we talked about is a planting schedule along that bank.
Yes.
So Matt, I have given James 2 copies of the plan. I don't know if I emailed you a copy of it for your file, but it has a planting schedule. We have mountain laurel, 12 mountain laurel going in, some creeping juniper, 7 of those, and 7 low bush blueberries scattered out along that bank to help protect that.
Is it possible, can I come up and look at what he's doing?
Yes. Yes.
So this is where the addition is. And this is the exposed bank. So in that bank, we're planting species that we have noted on here.
And that's part of, a solution for,
That's just to help protect that steep slope from eroding away.
okay.
Yep.
I'm over here, and, there's a swamp over here, and,
And it drains down through this ditch through here.
well, there's a passageway under the road. And the stream, is that the stream here?
Yeah, here's the culvert.
Oh, okay,
Yep, it comes off the state land over here,
right,
and it goes through this ditch down.
Okay.
Yep.
I was just wondering, over here, there's a lot of water. Over here, there's just a stream. I was wondering if there's a problem with what's going underneath the road. Because there's a lot of water on one side, not so much on the other. Is there a problem like that passageway being blocked or something?
So that's a question that you can, take up with the highway superintendent, Jim Smith. You know, that it's a
That
valid
doesn't
concern.
impact what you're doing?
No, I believe that was recently within the last
It's
5 years or so.
Yeah, it's ADS, isn't it?
Yeah. It's plastic. So,
Because when I was talking to the person today in the other office, they were saying that the reason why we're having the hearing, because there was no stream and then there is a stream and
well,
that kind of stuff or whatever.
Yeah, so it's an intermittent stream or seasonal.
correct.
See,
So we were out here, back in August of last year. We did
When
some,
it's gonna be the lowest amount of water.
right. However, when the building permit was pulled, Jessica, and I'm not sure if Matt were here, but it wasn't flowing at that point either, which was sometime this past fall. So
Okay, yeah. and,
now,
that was another question about varying the zoning. Was that part of that hearing, the fact that we're now having a hearing about the water is, I mean,
this
I
is,
would think that if there's.
this is a retroactive filing. After the fact, I should say, that we identified where that intermittent stream is,
Okay,
and we showed,
with the zoning part of the
Well,
hearings or?
the zoning wouldn't,
The
our
zoning-
decision wouldn't affect the
But
zoning.
would the fact that you have to have a hearing about this, would that have affected the fact that they gave a variance on the zoning?
No, because it's all based on the wetlands. And it was an intermittent or seasonal stream that wasn't identified prior, and it was identified after a heavy rain and wet
Snow.
snow.
I mean, after spring.
yeah,
Right.
You tested it
Yep.
when it was the lowest, so there's probably not gonna be much water going through there. And then you tested it
Right.
in the spring when there
So-
was a lot more.
so
My
the reason why we're here is there's activity that's been done within 100 feet of
Of the stream.
of the stream.
Okay,
So anytime you do work within 100 feet, we're supposed to go to conservation. So
okay.
with our office and the conservation office not identifying this at the right time,
Right.
it's an after the fact filing.
Yeah, right, so would this, if they knew there was a stream there, when they had the variance on the zoning, would they have done or not done the variance, not?
So
No.
the actual building footprint is how it's right on the line.
But it straddles the 100-foot buffer zone. So everything that we've done, we've filed with the state, both with DEP, with the commission here, and with Fish and Wildlife.
Right.
So regardless whether this is here now or not, it's still approved.
But
It's a,
if this was
Your
identified,
solution. the solution is approved.
It's really not a solution.
It's a separate issue. Zoning's a completely separate.
Right.
two separate
Right.
boards.
nothing to do with
Yes, I'm just
conservation.
wondering if.
So
if the
regardless,
zoning- If the hearing at the zone, at the variance of the zoning. Was aware that there was a stream, would they have said, no, we've got to cut that off 15 feet or 10?
what
feet?
they would have done is volleyed it to us.
Okay, so you would have
Yeah,
been
We,
involved
we
at
did,
that
we
point.
did have a discussion about it. At that time, our agent and admin
You weren't aware that there was a stream.
weren't aware
Right?
because of the timing, because it was in the fall. So that's why, and our response was no comment. It was later identified that there was a seasonal stream, and then did a
Which
field visit.
Once you realize there's a stream there, then you get that that 100-foot barrier, right?
Mhm.
That you have to appeal to, whatever. you
Right,
have to-
so there
So
is a
when you
no
weren't
touch.
aware of that, when you changed the variance of the zoning,
We don't
and you
change the
weren't aware of
variance.
this.
That's the
that's a
planning
whole
board
different,
that
that's a
we
whole different
don't, we can't
commission.
even comment on that. It's
Nope.
outside our jurisdiction.
okay?
So,
Matt?
well, I was gonna say, your letter, telling the ZBA about the potential of a stream there was read at their variance hearing. And what they did was they let Jessica know, the conservation agent know, that there might be a stream there. And Jessica went after the fact and went to the site and didn't see anything, unfortunately, which is why this was missed. But that being potentially a stream had no impact on the ZBA's determination. It's just something that they had to let us know, because that, you know, if there was a stream there, they would have to come before us for a separate permit. But it doesn't impact the ZBA decision at all.
The fact that you didn't know the stream was there allowed them to, get close to the stream, right? Without
Right.
being aware.
So we can do that.
Okay.
Okay, and this is why we're here, because we could file with the state, the two separate agencies for the state and with the commission.
Yeah.
And it's just to let them know what we're doing.
Okay.
All right, in this case, it was an after the fact, so it's still, either way, it was still gonna get approved. So there's nothing that's gonna limit or shut this project down because of the filing,
The filing of.
this.
The notice of intent.
Oh,
So whether we did this before
Right.
or afterwards, in this case,
Well,
It's gonna
not
have
about
no-
This part.
it's gonna
It's
have
about
no,
the variance, the fact that.
that's a
there now
totally
is
separate.
stream there, would they have gotten the variance on if they knew the stream was there to begin with?
Yes, because that has
In
nothing to do
hindsight,
with that part of the
That
variance.
was also
That's a whole-
2020, we're literally straddling that 100-foot line. The spoils were.
If you're straddling, that means you're like this, right? It's not, this is the 100-foot line.
Jack,
on this
you
side.
have it right
You're
there.
straddling it.
It's right here.
You're right
It's
there.
like 90, yeah.
It's about 85 feet to the
That
closest
would
place.
not have
Closest
changed
spot,
the
86,
zoning
7.
board's decision, but I can't speak on their behalf. I
No.
don't, it's not my jurisdiction. My jurisdiction is,
You'd
or
have to-
our jurisdiction
You'd
is.
have to go back to the zoning board.
Just to be clear though, the 100-foot wetland buffer is not a zoning line. It's got nothing to do with zoning.
Right.
It's only got to do with jurisdiction of the conservation commission. It's not a zoning line. Has nothing to do with zoning.
But would the variance have been impacted if they were aware there was a stream there? The
No,
fact that.
No.
Now have a building straddling the 100-foot barrier, right?
it has,
That would not have
it's,
said, hey, you can't put that thing there?
it's two.
Even if they had,
Apples and oranges.
even if they had known the stream was there, yeah, it wouldn't have impacted the zoning decision. In my
Well, they
opinion,
got within 100 feet of the stream.
But you
But
can't.
that's not their
okay.
jurisdiction, that's this board's jurisdiction.
Right, but you just said previously that the zoning board, if they were aware of the stream, would have come to these people and said, hey, we got a stream there. What's going on?
Just to let them know that a filing would need to be done. That's the only,
So the-
it wouldn't have affected their judgment on yes or no for an approval. It's just to let them know that a filing is coming their way.
If,
But-
excuse me
okay.
for a second.
Okay.
If this was within 35 feet of the wetlands, this would be black and white, cut and dry. This would be done.
It was
It's-
what?
If it's within a 35-foot area of the wetlands, it's not. It's well outside that. The 35-foot is a state and
I thought it was
local.
100 feet.
No, the
No.
100-foot buffer is an area that's when they have to file with the state of Massachusetts, the notice of intent stating that they're going to work within 100 feet of the buffer. And that, the impact of that work will be controlled and mitigated.
Okay, to
To
make
prevent
sure
any
that
issues.
nothing that they work.
Anything to do with zoning, anything to do with zoning, we can't discuss it. It's not our jurisdiction.
It was just a question on whether or not, if they were aware of this, would they have not, because I was, we had a hearing for the variance and now we're having a hearing for the stream. It just seemed like if they were aware of that, maybe they wouldn't have gotten variance or it would have
Two separate items,
impacted the building kind of thing.
two separate items.
I just, had a few questions. I'm not up on all this stuff, so I apologize for going down the process. But, those were my concerns, or some of my concerns.
Well, we appreciate you stating your concerns and coming to the hearing. Because that's just part of the process and, we appreciate it. It's the only way this whole thing works as a, local government. So,
Okay.
the owners hired a professional engineering firms to do their work. They missed something, our agent missed something. Unfortunately, we have to backtrack and do something retroactively, which isn't something we really try to do. But it happens. So, appreciate Jack's work, Matt and Jessica's work.
Absolutely.
And I'm sorry we can't answer or address your concerns because it's related to planning, and zoning. So one of the comments Jessica had, Jack, was monitoring the site for 2 years as part of the, now I gotta find it, but,
I have the email up, James. You want me to read it?
yes, please.
Yep. So please consider the following as a Townsend Wetland Bylaw special condition. Put a 2 growing season success monitoring in place for this. And you can't request a COC until 2 growing seasons have passed and must have at least 80% of plants survive. Planting needs to be done before May 30th, 2023, and then 2023 and 2024 can count for growing seasons. So then you can file for a request for COC in October of 2024. And just a reminder that erosion control barriers need to remain in place until a COC is issued.
Does that
Yep,
sound
standard.
reasonable?
That's pretty standard, yeah. Matt, if you could just send me that email, just so I can forward that on to my client.
And at least it gives deadline to get
Please.
it in by. So
Happy
you can
to.
file there.
Yeah.
And do you have any comments, questions?
No, I'm good with it.
Pat, do you have anything you want to add?
No, I'm good with it also.
So the motion is just to issue a standard OOC with attachment A and then list that special condition with the 2 growing seasons would be the motion.
Standard. Say that again, Matt.
Associations.
So motion to issue a standard order of conditions with attachment A
Attachment A.
and the
With
special
growing-
condition to, not issue a COC until 2 growing seasons
October
have passed
23.
and 80% of plants have survived.
We need a motion for those words. For that.
So noted. I make a motion.
To,
To,
I can make a motion. It's okay.
okay, you can?
But,
You make
yeah.
a motion.
But I want to make a motion to, approve the notice of intent, DEP, number 308-0698, Townsend Wetlands Bylaw 2023-146. For the standard OOC, with attachment A, for the special, stipulation of 2 growing seasons with 80% success. Sound right, Matt?
Apply for a COC, in
Before they can
October
apply for an-
24th, yeah.
Oh, OC,
That sounds good.
COC.
Second,
Roll call vote, please.
Ian Leclerc, yes.
James Gates, yes.
Pat Gemel, yes.
So,
Do I have to close the hearing?
yes,
Make a motion to close the notice of intent hearing, DEP 308, excuse me, dash 0698, TWB 2023-146.
I'll second that.
roll call vote, please.
Anne Leclerc, yes.
James Gates, yes.
Pat Gemel, yes.
Pat, I'm gonna put the forms for you to sign in the mailbox, next to the town clerk's office for you after we're done, okay?
Yeah,
And you
I'll
can-
come in the morning and sign them.
So Jack will get them signed this week and early next week, Matt or Jessica will get them out.
Yep, that's fine.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you
Good night,
very
sir.
much.
Thank you.
Sir.
You can stay for
Thank
the
you.
rest if you want.
Out of the town? Thank you.
Thank you.
2.2. 7:45, proposed amendments to the Townsend Wetland Regulations, Chapter 150.
I make a motion that I get moved to a different meeting.
Well, it's a hearing.
Is it a hearing? Okay.
Matt,
Yep,
correct?
it's a hearing. Yep, sorry. I'm trying to text Jessica the phone number so she can get back on the Zoom. She's having internet problems.
All right, so we need a motion to open the hearing.
Make a motion to open the hearing on the proposed amendments to the Townsend Wetland Regulations, Chapter 150.
I'll second that.
Roll call vote, please.
Delacroix, yes.
James Gates, yes.
Pat Gemella, yes.
You could make a motion to just continue. If you want it, I'm just saying. I mean, I know you only have.
Come on, Stan, we have two openings.
Well, you don't have a full commission, that's.
No, we don't. I think that's a,
I'll stay here all night.
Hold on one second. I can read the legal notice too in 1 second.
Matt, we
Sorry.
we don't have the full commission. We don't. There was a reason we were not trying to, but the reason we wanted this done, I don't remember though.
So we don't have to close it today. I was going to recommend leaving it or continuing it to next meeting as well, because we have additional comments. So we could read those in. But we should probably touch on it just a little bit,
Okay,
if that's okay.
that's fine.
So real quick, I can read the legal notice and then we can get started. Pursuant to the Townsend Wetlands Bylaw, the Townsend Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, April 26, 2023 at 7:15 p.m. The hearing will be held virtually via Zoom meeting and in person at Town Hall on proposed amendments to the Townsend Wetlands Regulations, Chapter 150 of the Townsend General Code. Proposed amendments to Chapter 150 include changes to 150-2 general provisions, 150-3 definitions, and 150-4 procedures. Hard copies of the proposed amendments are available for review at Town Hall during business hours, and an electronic version can be found at www.townsendma.gov/conservation-commission. Parties wishing to speak in support of or in opposition to these amendments may do so at the meeting or in writing prior to the meeting. Jessica Consalvo, Agent, Townsend Conservation Commission. Okay.
Mhm.
And then I can share my screen.
We're all set, Matt.
Thank you, Hartley. Sure, I have the most up-to-date one here. There we go. Okay. So the proposed changes are in red and they are outlined. Most of them are just grammatical changes or clarifying things that need to be clarified. 150-2A adds in soils and hydrology or a combination of the three to make it more clear, because it's not just defined by vegetation, it's defined by all three of those things. 152B. Oh, sorry, Leslie, you have your hand up. Oh, you're muted, Leslie.
So do you want comments as you go through this, or you want to go through
Sure.
all the changes and then we comment? Oh,
Well, James, do you have a preference?
Leslie, it's tough to hear you.
a little
In
bit-
terms of,
that
I can
better?
turn it up, but it'll make Matt really loud.
Move my mic further away from my mouth. There we go.
I'm
No,
eight
I
in-
want to try to go through this methodically and not bounce around too much, but I know Stan's on the clock here and we don't want to keep him waiting all night.
So. what
So no, you can comment as we go, Leslie, and, if you don't mind keeping the initial comments short, we can always revisit things as we go, if that seems.
I only have a few comments. So, yeah. And that's a big one, the first one. So maybe you want to
Okay.
do that at the end. That's a doozy, that one.
Okay. Okay, we can circle back to it then. Okay, 150-2B is we added a sentence at the end saying any intent to alter these resources shall acquire a permit from the Conservation Commission. Again, just making that a little more clear. What else? We changed our plan requirements. That was probably the biggest change, or one of the biggest changes. A lot of these things are things we ask for already, but we're just making it more clear for applicants. And so we kind of modeled it off Groton's plan requirements. And I'll just slowly scroll down here so people can see them.
We have the pro here. Hey, Stan, how do you feel about the way Groton has modeled their regulations for the plane? What they require on the plane? So does it make it easier for you? I know it's
pretty much everything that we would normally put on a plan anyhow, and I've done 100 filings in Groton, so I'm pretty used to what they require. But there's really nothing in their requirements that when I go through, I go, there's nothing that's like breaks my heart that I have to put on the plan. So
okay.
yeah, I think having all those requirements just make it so you guys get plans that are pretty much the same all the time. So you're looking at the same thing. You're not getting a napkin sketch here and a plan from somebody else here. So they're all the same. But I think it's good to have those, and there's nothing on that list that bothers me that I say, oh, that's onerous to have to do that.
Okay. Yeah, that was the goal.
Right.
Figured who better to ask you.
Point, very valid point.
Okay, keep going, Matt.
Okay. And anyone feel free to jump out with anything if they have anything. Leslie, do you have something for the plan requirements? I see your hand back up, or was that just for?
Oh, no, I didn't put
Yeah.
it down, but yeah.
Oh,
Just
okay.
things. They're nothing major.
Okay. Yep.
Should I go back? Wait a minute.
I guess maybe we can just do all your comments at the end. I
Yeah.
think that would probably be the easiest. Okay.
Hand down.
Well, Matt,
All right.
is this the proposed changes published anywhere online for the public?
Yep, they're on our website, and we're in our office for the last week and like a little over a week. If anyone wanted to come in,
Okay.
And then there's also the legal notice posted last Friday. But yeah, it's been on our website for a while.
All right, I figured you did all that. I just, for Leslie and anyone else's. Keep going.
Yeah, what we're looking at right now, I pulled this right off our website. So, all right, the crossed is things. These are our old site plan requirements. These were either better worded in Groton's, or they were just put, word for word back into the new plan requirements. Let's see, a butter, just some minor capitalization stuff. Notice of intent wasn't capitalized. And then it didn't list abbreviated notice of resource area delineation like it should have, because that's listed in the WPA that you have to do it for an ANR, an ANRAD, ANRAD. Agricultural use, and then she just made it more clear / land and agricultural use. Again, capitalization, order of conditions wasn't capitalized. Just making it more clear that it's the wetlands bylaw. Getting rid of town of Townsend, that's kind of redundant. Floodplain, we got rid of the floodplain district as described in 138.7 of the bylaw and replaced it with as defined in 138.7 of the wetlands bylaw. Again, just a little more clear. Lake, any body of fresh water with a surface area of 10 acres or more. Again, that's kind of self-explanatory, but that wasn't actually worded properly. We got rid of the land and agriculture use because this doesn't actually lead anywhere. So we just got rid of that. Person, we just added wetlands to the bylaw. Selective cutting, we just made it clear that this is only relevant within a jurisdictional conservation area. We don't have control of selective cutting, all over town. And we also added removal of stumps because that can impact wetlands if heavy machinery is going in. So we wanted to add that. Yep, little grammatical stuff, capitalization, grammatical stuff. We added to, if necessary, a resident or forum can request an emergency certification from the commission, because we've done that in the past for emergency projects. So we just wanted to make sure that was written out there. And then the last thing we added here was an administrative approval, which a lot of other towns have. And we said a project that is proposed within a resource area or its buffer, however, has no anticipated alteration to the functions or values of the resource area or its buffer, may qualify for administrative approval. A person requesting such approval shall submit in writing a description of the proposed project, a map of the project location, and reasons as to why or how the project would not result in resource or buffer alteration. Following review of the request, conservation staff may issue, on behalf of the Conservation Commission, administrative approval of the work. So this is for very minor stuff, like someone wants to remove one tree by hand, and it's within 100 feet. This way they don't have to go through the lengthy RDA process, and we can give them approval. Yeah, and that is it.
Not on the administration approval, there should be some sort of fee associated with it.
Mhm.
Correct?
Yeah, I know Jessica threw out the number $25, I think, at the last meeting. That's something we would have to add to our fee schedule. We haven't determined, what that fee should be. It should obviously be less than an RDA since it's a less serious project. But
Over the hours worth of work. Okay.
so that would be up to the Conservation Commission. But that wouldn't, the other fees aren't listed in the regulation, the exact amount. So
No, I know. I just.
Yep.
Perfect.
All right.
Okay. Yep. So Leslie, we can go back to you now.
Now, Leslie, we are going to most likely continue this. So, yeah, if you want to hear what your opinion is, because I know you have an extensive past with us, and
I'll just write it and give it to Matt and Jessica.
okay. Well, do you want to give us a broad overview though, quickly, or just?
When is Stan supposed to come on?
There's no time for that.
No?
Or there was no timeline or appointment for that. So it was whenever we finished
Okay.
this.
Well, I'll just write them down. Most of them are since you guys were focusing on the grammatical stuff. There's a lot of grammatical things. If you want to be consistent and call it notice of intent, you should probably just do that all the way through, capitalize it in RDA and all that stuff. So
Mhm.
let's mark it up. And then can you add, I don't know can we only discuss the things you're proposing, or if I notice something that, hey, this might be another good clarification? Is that
Yep.
okay to mention that, or?
We did ask for other comments. So yeah, if you have any opinions, feel free to share them.
It's a
Matt, you gave me a list of public comments.
Yep.
So Leslie, why don't you give us your comments on things you think we should add.
Okay, so the thing to add, I just noticed it, so I'm sorry, I just looked at it this afternoon. I was talking to Jessica about a violation, and she brought this up, so I apologize. So I just noticed on under 152 general provisions, E.
Mhm. E.
It could be, I mean, I've never noticed this before. It says the Conservation Commission may at its discretion regulate the type of equipment to be used within a wetland. Well, it'd be kind of good to say within the buffer zone or riverfront area. of
Okay.
the Wetland, as well as within the wetland. But you should be able to regulate not just equipment that's in the wetland. You probably don't even want equipment in the wetland, but anyway. So I would add riverfront area in the buffer zone.
It's a good point.
Then I don't know, that issue with the changing the definition of a wetland.
Yeah, I'm just gonna add what she needs.
Sorry, say that again, Leslie.
So 152A, that's
Oh.
pretty dicey. The Townsend wetland bylaw has always been based on vegetation purpose.
Mhm.
And
Oh, okay.
that a bylaw regulation has to be more strict or can be more strict than the Wetlands Protection Act regulations. So historically, the commission has always wanted it to say just vegetation, but if you guys have had a really good, long, serious conversation about that and added soils and hydrology, then to say a combination of the three, I don't know what that means. Combination, so any two, any one, all three. I don't know what you mean by soils and hydrology, or a combination of the three.
Yes.
I can clarify that.
Oh,
Karen.
yep, Jessica can jump in on that.
Hey,
Yes.
Jessica,
So for-
can Stan just chime in real quick, because he had
Oh,
something?
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
The Wetland Protection Act is all three of those factors, but you need to have at least two of those present. And that, if you're trying to mirror it after the Wetland Protection Act, which in my opinion is a good idea, then you may want to just word it that way. Because if it's vegetation alone, like, you could go on the woods and find a hybrid blueberry, and that's gonna be a wetland, because there's no size limit. And I think the protection that Townsend has is that there's no minimum square footage. So like in the Wetland Protection Act, there's a minimum square footage, but there isn't in the Townsend wetland bylaw. So if I have hybrid soils and vegetation, doesn't matter how big it is, it's gonna be a wetland. It's gonna require filing, at least under the law.
Okay, Jessica.
Yeah, so, I mean, my experience with wetland delineation before this was using the Army Corps method. So typically you need all three of those indicators, except in areas with problematic history. So maybe you're delineating on some old contaminated site, or an area that they just like dumped gravel and a little bit of dirt in as fill. So all that's ponding there is water, and then obviously cattails or phragmites are the first thing to pioneer in. So yeah, in an area where you have problematic or unnatural soils, you can't really rely on the hydric soil indicators of a depleted matrix or hydric soils, whatever, as much. So that was my intent here. Was I agree with Stan that, yeah, you could see one cattail, one blueberry, and then be able to say, yep, it's a wetland, which isn't really fair. So maybe I think by us seeing a combination of the three, a combo means at least two. I think it would read to me at least two of these three, but I mean, we could reword it if that's not clear. But yeah.
Combination of at least two.
Did you hear that, Jessica?
Yeah,
For me.
I think that's fine. Yeah, Matt, why don't you
Yeah.
make that note? But yeah, I mean, similarly, you could I've had sites where someone built a driveway through an old wetland and it completely cut off the source of hydrology. But the soils were super gray and you still had mostly FAC and FAC wet vegetation. So it could still be a wetland in that sense. So it starts getting a little subjective in that realm, but
Well, yeah, 'cause
yeah,
you could have.
I think we should be willing to consider it.
Yeah, you could have high groundwater and with that type of soil and yeah,
I-
I agree.
Mm,
So 2 of the 3 is what you're saying, not just a combination of the 3, 2 of the 3.
at least 2 of the 3.
It's a little extreme to say, well, you find one high bush blueberry there, so they're going to call it a wetland. That's not really what's been done in the past.
It happened to me.
What?
In Towson.
Land?
So Leslie, that did it to you.
It happened to you?
Yeah.
Whoa, what was the vegetation?
It was a high bush blueberry in a little depression in the middle of about 50 acres.
In the middle of what?
We ended up having to call it a wetland.
Ouch.
I should be there, I can't hear it. Okay,
So I think we're all on the same page, as, we want 2 out of the 3.
Yeah,
yeah, that's a little better. It just confusing. Okay.
Okay.
So what a lot of capitalizations.
Yep.
Tons of capitalizations. And what else did I have? Gosh, sorry, I'll look quickly.
Well, what do you think, Leslie? Matt, can you just go through the public comments, quickly and we can-
Sure. So I included James, your comment and Joan's comment from the 3/8 meeting. Let me go through them here. The first comment was from Beth, the admin for ZBA and the planning board. She sent an email saying she just took a cursory look and is wondering if this is a place to add a linkage to the stormwater management bylaw under general provisions, or is this already in the wetland bylaw? For example, page 2 of the attachment and 145(2)(c)(1) states, for applicable land disturbance as specified in chapter 85 of the Townsend General Bylaw, a stormwater management application shall be filed in conjunction with this application to determine subjectivity to either a minor or a major stormwater management permit. And then this section here it's being voted on at the annual town meeting to be added to 145(42). Refer to section 175(44) stormwater management, erosion and sedimentation control plan, the stormwater plan, to determine requirements with strict adherence to chapter 85 of the Townsend General Bylaws, NPDES Phase 2 stormwater management. So I think she's basically asking if we want to add somewhere in the regulations a linkage to the stormwater management bylaw. And then the other comments were, James, you had a comment at the March 8th meeting to potentially add a land requirement to show the location of stockpile materials on plans like Lunenburg has in their regulations. We have asked for that in the past, I know.
Yeah.
And then Joan had a comment about potentially adding a requirement that all fill be invasive free. And then Jessica added on to that in an email saying that the commission could ask for a note indicating source of fill material and a statement that says fill is to be free of toxins.
That I don't want to push this to the side because it's important, but how do you do that without opening either a liability or just that can of worms that can get expensive? Because
Right. I do think that was Jessica's concern as well.
How
Well,
we got to share custody of the soil.
yeah,
Right.
and it's what it's $200 a test or something. I don't, it's been a couple years since I've had it
Yeah.
done.
I mean, maybe, you know, if you want to keep, I'm not saying you should keep that in there or not, if you want to, maybe over a certain number of cubic yards.
Okay,
They have something like that.
Make it a
So,
size requirement. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I mean, yeah, we just don't want people like, I mean, obviously on-site fill is the first preference, but yeah, we don't want someone bringing in whatever from New Hampshire or something, you know, from a full toxic refrigerant dump. So, at least the source maybe, the note indicating the source of fill. And then you localites can figure if you want more information. I mean, maybe that could just be a special condition on order of conditions, is to provide test results or something if there is a certain exceedance in cubic yards of fill. I mean, that's an option.
well, and even then, Phil it's a lot of the times it's alone, the source of the contaminants.
Yeah.
You can get something with Canadian thistle in it or.
And, you know, for like someone doing a septic upgrade, for them to have to document where their grade outfill comes from, that's a pretty small amount. I mean, it would be nice to know where it comes from, but yeah, that's gonna really monkey up the process. It's gonna have a lot of administrative work and cost to whoever's doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And then what if you find the fill bad, right? It's in place, you do the test when it's in place. And then what do you make, rip it all out? You're gonna have people down here that are up and mad.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the contaminants would be looking for anyhow.
What does DEP say? They say something about clean fill, don't they? I don't know if they have a definition for clean fill.
Isn't clean fill, no boulders, no,
Well, yeah,
And
No.
EP is a definition.
no
Yeah.
wood chips.
yeah, no sticks, yeah.
I think it's usually nothing greater than 4 inches. But
Okay.
You don't want car parts. It's like- and you also don't want invasives. What is it? The Japanese knotweed that came in at every culvert replacement in town one year.
Right. That's what we want to avoid.
Yeah.
but, you know,
But-
you have you know, them doing, the brush mowing on the side of the road or, even the snowplow, and they grab a little bit of soil and it trickles out going down the road.
That's right.
You know, that with the roots, it's just gonna take off, so.
Maybe since there's some, hesitance
I
on
think-
putting it in the in the requirements, maybe like Jessica said, we just, we take it on a case by case basis. And if a project is using a lot of fill, we have a special condition, asking for the source and all that stuff.
I like that.
Okay. And then what do you guys think about adding a plan requirement to show stockpile materials? Is that something you want to see?
I think so, because we end up having to ask for it.
Right. Okay. Sounds good. So, yep, I can add that. And then for Beth's comment, I don't know where specifically she wants to add this in chapter 150. Do you know, Jessica?
No, I think she is just wondering if there's a place to plug it.
Okay.
I agree that we should.
Okay.
I just have not had the chance to figure out where it would best be. So maybe that's something that I can do before our next, assuming this gets continued.
Okay. Yep. We can put that in. We'll just figure out on our end where exactly to put that. Okay.
Good.
And then Leslie, do you have any other additional comments?
Just wondered, just because you never know who will be working for the commission down the road,
Mhm.
that administrative approval. And it's not anything about now. You just don't know. You just never know who's coming in. If you would just want to say, instead of commission staff, say the conservation agent. But sometimes, you hire conservation staff and they're new, the administrative side, and then they learn. I don't
Right.
So, and some stuff is, you're right, it's so simple that it's silly,
Right.
like the tree.
Yeah. We've had that a couple times.
Yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
like a rocket science, but I don't know. I was just saying, to say conservation agent. But
Jessica, do you have any thoughts on that?
We could do that, or, I know the word competent is used a lot in sort of like the developmental industry. So we could do something like competent conservation staff, or I don't know. I don't know if there's like an adjective instead that we could put at the beginning.
Stan has an idea.
I could say approved conservation staff, that way the commission, if somebody ended up there,
Ah,
you know, the commission would say, you're not approved by the commission to do this. The good thing that does, it gets people to come in instead of just doing it. If it's a couple of trees or something, more people are just gonna cut them down. If it's a simplified process, then they can come in, they might come in and say, they might actually, I didn't know what's going on. But you could say something like approve first.
No, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
That's
Okay,
good.
yeah.
So put in approved conservation staff. Yep. Okay. And then circling back to one of your original comments, Leslie, to add buffer zone and riverfront area to 150-2E.
E. Yeah.
Yep, I definitely like that idea because most of the projects we see are not in the wetlands, it's in the buffer zone or riverfront area. So I think that would make sense to add.
And
Do
then-
we want to instead do to be used within a resource area or its respective buffer?
Sure.
That sounds good.
whatever.
That kind of gives it a more umbrella term.
Okay.
And one other thing, and that was it, just all the cycles. Just to clarify.
Reading this right now, section F right below, it, states procedure, commission may regulate the above procedures, in accordance with label requirements and or other official recommendations. Label is law.
Mhm.
So the and or other official recommendations shouldn't be included.
Okay.
Fine.
Get rid of and or other official recommendations. Okay. Okay.
Actually, just going down to G, for all projects including construction of any sort, a written statement describing
Ah. Sorry.
construction methodology, including type of machinery to be used, access to project site, proposed timetables is required. If I don't know where I was going. I was going to say that's usually written on a plan
Do you need to go out?
on the notes, but I don't want to make this too complicated. We can continue this until next week and let everything stew.
Okay. But yeah, I can add in all the things we talked about tonight that we want to see added or taken away. And re-upload it to the website. And yeah, we can vote on it next meeting or continue it again if we have to.
Bye.
Thank you, Matt. So we need a motion and a second to
I make a
continue this.
make a motion, excuse me, make a motion to extend the proposed amendments to the Towns and Wetlands Regulation, Chapter 115, to the next meeting, which would be May 10th.
You mean continue it?
Yeah. to continue the meeting for the proposed amendments to the Townsend Wetland Regulation, Chapter 150.
Pat has
Oh.
gone to look out. I second it.
Okay. Just gotta wait for her to come back. Yeah.
Well, they have 2 of the 3. Isn't that a quorum to vote?
We have 5 members. Or
But
5
it's only
commissioners.
present, I think.
I mean,
Oh.
she is present at the meeting, though. Or,
The jury's out on this one. I
Yeah,
never
it's-
actually know.
it's kind of, yeah.
We should check with Eric. Matt,
Yeah.
that's your homework for Friday.
Yeah. I will.
James, yes. We're gonna continue this till the next meeting.
5. Do we have a quorum?
So, what was that, Leslie?
Then I think you need 3 of 5 to have a quorum. Is that what?
But
you
Yeah,
then when
I've-
you're voting on motions, does there need to be a quorum of members present at the meeting or total commissioners still?
For voting? I mean, you have to have a quorum
To have the meeting, yep.
member who are members. So then to vote, you mean? Is it who's present
Yeah, a quorum of who's present.
for voting?
Mr. Chair,
Nope.
this is Laura Schifrin.
Hi,
Hi,
Laura.
Laura.
You have a quorum present, you're holding a meeting, so it's the majority of the quorum present to vote a motion.
You always
Okay.
chime in at these times.
Okay, awesome.
So we're good.
Okay.
Pat's back anyway.
Yep. After all that.
No.
Good to have that confirmed. That's what I thought, but I wasn't 100% sure, so I didn't want to say one way or the other.
I'm good for something until that's one of them, okay?
Thank you so much. Appreciate the help. Mhm. All right.
The Main Street updates from 412 to 426. Matt, Jessica said you went out and took some pictures today?
I did. I can show those.
Big.
And then Stan's here to talk with us also.
So I can briefly go through the pictures and then I can put on the remediation plan that Stan sent over today.
Mm-hmm. Keep going. Go back to that last one. Oh. One more, back.
You need me to zoom in on anything?
No, you can keep going.
That's on the outlet side of the
Right.
pipe, and they have cleaned up a lot of the stuff that's beyond those hay bales. When the water allows, because there's still water coming through there. I was out there yesterday, I must admit, Matt, I don't want to step on your toes, Matt, but there's water coming out of there, but it's all clear.
Yeah, no, it's been clear since they put the stone check dams in.
I know, and there's no, I had put stakes out back in like February, like Jessica asked, and then I kind of blue ribbon and an orange ribbon, and the sediment hasn't come up at all.
No, I noticed that in the pictures.
Stable as it can be right now, I think, so.
So our biggest concern was the sedimentation that had migrated 100+
Oh,
feet
yeah.
out
It was not.
and not, because once you get a growing season in there, it's done.
Right,
Then all it's gonna do is back up the water.
yeah.
Scrolling through the pictures here. Shows the check dams. Yep, that's all of them. I did notice that the water seemed to be running clear when I was out there.
Yeah, I have not seen dirty water running through there since the more hay bales were put out, and specifically after the check dams were done.
Mhm.
Uh,
All the sediments already all washed out. You know, when you look at that, that's where it's really eroded, it's just a lot of rock in there, there's not a lot of soil left.
Right. And as you know, you take out some sediment upstream, it's gonna push this, allow more water to flow through to push the lower stuff further. And you know, there's gonna be what, a quarter acre built silt.
Oh, yeah, there's, they have made some pretty good progress on the downstream side, but I think they have a ways to go, but they can't get in there, it's too wet right now, so. So Matt has the plan up that I'm working on. If the view on the left, I was able to find some contours from GIS before anything happened, and that shows that there always was a swale that ran down through there. And then the next one is after this erosion event. You find out a little more information than initially. And I think what happened is they tried to improve that swale last year. They cut down the vegetation, and I don't know whether I wasn't involved, regraded it or whatever, but when they did, that pipe that comes from the dentist's office, I think that was underground, covered over with root mass, and the water just came out and leached its way through into the swale. And that's some of the water. A lot of the water comes from up on 119 through that culvert, and you can see that now. So once that pipe on the dentist's office got exposed, there was nothing to slow the water down. The vegetation hadn't taken hold, and it just went directly down there. So can you slide that plan over to the,
Just wait.
to my left anyhow? So
There's a note.
yeah, so what we're thinking, there's been no successful negotiations between Dr. McGee and the dentist about doing anything on her property, which is where the pipe is. So,
Well,
can you scroll down a little bit, Matt, so that Main Street, the other way? Yeah, so that,
the pipe that,
this is
She's eating.
this is the property line here. And that's where the pipe is.
that he went on to the clear.
He must have. It seems obvious to me, but, so, since they don't seem to want to talk to each other, and I've been trying to encourage that. What we're thinking is, we're gonna put a catch basin here with a beehive grate, which will get any water that comes from here. This water that comes from 119 kind of goes this way now.
Hey, Matt, can you zoom in to that side of the plan that he's referring to, please?
So we have a deep sump catch basin here that will catch any sediment. We run a pipe down to another catch basin, restore the swale. Take this catch basin, run it down to an outfall where we restore the berm that was broken through along here, and create a little basin there to hold the water back so that it can't go off the site, and it will be wet, and it's a wetland now. And it will infiltrate and it will dry out, in the summer, just like it does now. One of the problems was this eroded, and then when they had water here, they went, oh gee, we gotta get rid of it, and they built through that berm.
So they broke two spots, yeah.
So this proposal would restore that, keep all the water that comes from the other site and this site on site. And then when that's done, they won't be able to do this, like I've been saying, since the beginning to July or something, or August. Then that will dry up the flow coming through here, and they can clean that up. But they have made good progress down beyond where those hay bales were. They've had a lot of that sediment out of there.
I'm not gonna let up on the pushing for that to get cleaned up. So just don't take that personally.
No. It's out of my control. I can only report to them what the order of conditions is, and it's it's up to them. I think they realize they have to do it, but not in their defense, but in reality, you can't do it when there's water flowing across the surface. You're gonna make more of a mess than trying to clean it up. So I don't think they need to do that to stop the water, but if they do it now, it's not gonna work.
I know, but it just keeps migrating further and further, and now it's onto someone else's property.
Yeah,
So,
oh, I understand. And they were just out there in the last couple of days getting some of that out of there. So they are doing it.
oh,
Maybe not as fast as everybody would like, but they are doing it.
when you're doing it with buckets, you can only go so fast. And I understand. I understand that. I know Ann does.
Yeah, absolutely.
We all do understand it, but because it got so bad, now it's so far out because you clean up the easy spot and it just allows more water to push the
Yeah.
silt further.
Yep.
So, one of Jessica's concerns was with the pipe coming down the field, because that is a mass mapped stream.
It's actually, no, that is not.
Okay,
It's not. We submitted some, I think. If we did, we the data, the watershed area, it doesn't meet the criteria to be a stream or an intermittent stream. It shows that the hydrologic connection on the Mass GIS, but it doesn't meet the criteria for a stream.
so would the pipe meet that criteria to continue that hydrological connection?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
If we're looking for a hydrologic connection from here down to there, then yeah, that would do it. And we restore the swale on top of the pipe. We restore to sit as close as we could get it to the original. So this water here, this is all, you can see by the contours how they come this way. All this water that comes out
If
of
it
119.
snows, you could see it.
Yeah, that will end up in the swale, not in the pipe. So it's just, this is to mitigate that area that we can't. If we could work with these folks, I'd put that catch basin there.
Yeah, that's beyond us.
Yeah, but
That's for
But-
conversation,
but-
not being recorded.
it's more important to do something than wait for them to come to church, because whatever happened there,
Do you think that beehive is up close enough then,
yeah.
or should it be up higher? It go up closer to
here?
119.
No, because I don't want to interrupt that flow, because that's the natural flow, and it ends up in the swale. You can see how there's a little bit of a swale there. I'm just trying to catch that water and not change the whole hydrology there.
I assume,
I have a question for that. So again, yeah, so like cutting off hydrology. So since it's gonna get piped, or it's proposed to get piped, so what happens to all the wetland, like over by wetland flag E4, E5, 6, 7, and then what is that, AA7 over on the western side? So is that going to dry up like that, so it seems like we're fixing the water conveyance issue, but it's going to, you're going to take away 60% of the wetlands through there. So even,
No.
the map stream or not, there's more than a stream. There's all these wetlands there now too that will dry up. So if this is the plan that gets approved, I think there would need to be some sort of wetland creation down at the bottom. I don't know. So I guess, yeah, how will the remaining wetlands be hydrated?
Well, that's why I have this as far here to get the water that's coming down that swale that was made by whomever. But the stuff coming off 119 will bypass that catch basin, as will all of this water will come down this way. So I don't think we're significantly reducing the amount of water that's gonna end up in that swale.
Okay, so you're gonna essentially channel the outlet of the foundation drain.
Whatever that is.
Beehive.
Can't be a foundation, man, it's too big, it's 12 inch.
I only found the 4-inch.
Oh, no,
Cast iron.
there's a 12 inch, that's a 12 inch CMP right there. that's got water coming out. It's got, I don't know where it's coming from and I can't go on the property.
I heard I heard a guy years ago was working I think one property down, the old president house, and they found a pipe. It was just built, it was big, it was a big one, like you're describing, so. God only knows.
Anecdotal, somebody told me that a long time ago, their father or their grandfather put drains all over the place
Like,
in this
father-in-law
field and in
used
other
to
fields.
Put grow corn in that field
Right.
50+ years, 60, over 60 years ago.
You know, and they are
70
trying to
years ago.
maintain this as an agricultural use,
Right,
so.
so that
that-
was all
that-
tied together at one time.
Yeah, I'm sure. So that's why I wanted to come in and run this by you to get any comments or any feedback if we're going down the wrong road. If we do not interrupt what's coming out of this pipe somewhere, we're never gonna stop the erosion. Get the water that's coming out of here, out of that swale, because it was coming out underground before, now it's coming out on the surface.
Legally, there's nothing we can do to,
I don't wanna,
That pipe ends 19 feet, 15 feet from the property line.
right, it's like 18 feet or something there. Unless you were subject to an enforcement order too.
that's,
Yeah, but
that,
I don't,
It's not, I don't think, I'm not sure any of this is regular.
it is.
So,
We
but
bought
that,
it.
but the water's coming from there and we have to do something with it, so. And we, we could create in that holding area, that basin down the bottom, that's already a wetland, and that's really gonna enhance that. It's gonna enhance that wetland. It's gonna keep water in there. It's gonna stay wet longer, so. This is the best.
So the second beehive, what was it? It was halfway down.
Yeah, that was just.
There was one,
That was.
essentially just a clean out though.
Yeah, it's a deep sump. It's just the belt suspenders. I mean, we could eliminate it and you could put, I'm bouncing ideas off here, but you'd want to have something there because that runs so long,
Right.
manhole in there. In my opinion, a beehive grate would be a good idea on it in case something failed or something went south again, there's somewhere for the water to go. And it's all gonna stay on the property. And it's all the same wetland system. It's gonna end up down there.
So the air, Matt, can you scroll down, please, towards the trail? So, and that's gonna get regraded, so it creates a
Right.
larger basin.
And before, you can see the contours, they kind of all settled in here. And then they broke through,
Well,
here.
See where
They
the,
broke through up there.
yeah, the second one,
Here.
that one isn't, there almost no silt, just until recently,
Right.
going through there, it was up top where,
Right, because they gave it the course of least resistance. It didn't have to hit here and go around.
right,
Once they broke through there, it just went, see you later.
Yeah.
So that's the track we're on. Where if this is kind of the road we want to go down, and then when we submit the notice of intent, we can have comments, suggestions, whatever. And, but
I think we need some sort of planting plan, whatever is acceptable, especially on the berm side.
right.
I agree.
Yeah, you need
Agree with that.
something needs to be there to hold that
Hold
in
that.
place.
Yeah,
Yeah. Jessica, you there?
Yeah, what was the idea, I guess, behind piping this versus doing like the streamy restoration type of thing?
I don't think that,
No, you said it already, because there's so much water coming out of that 12-inch.
I don't think that it would, I think it would erode away. I don't know.
He's
How
only
would
looking
you
to catch the water coming out of that single pipe
Right,
and not drain the wetlands, the upland wetlands.
if I had permission to go on the dentist property, I'd just connect that pipe to this pipe. So, and I know water was coming out of that pipe and feeding the wetland, but there's
But it was
There's
subsurface.
270 degrees of other slope and surface water heating that area. In my opinion, I don't see that this is gonna cause that to dry up.
Okay, that's fine. No, that's fine. I'm just just trying to keep things more natural than man-made. So I understand that, the surface flow will remain, so that's okay.
Like, will be.
But, yeah, just something that wouldn't alter as much, instead keep it natural. I mean, if you were to do a stream restoration with, what are those called? Like step pools, using natural materials, instead of big riprap boulders, maybe. I don't know. That might be too expensive, but,
Well, I think it does two things. One, I'm not sure that as much as that's eroded, you'd be very successful at that. And then they are still trying to use this for agricultural purposes. So I think they've historically cut that field for hay. And I think their intention would be to continue to do that as an agricultural use.
does he go through the wetlands then with machinery typically, do we assume?
No, it was vegetated, it was forest.
Oh, that's right.
I don't
So
know
he
what it looked like before this.
It was,
I mean, I've driven by there 1,000 times, but I've never
it
really
was
paid
all like
attention.
6+ inch caliber.
Oh, it was, okay.
Scrub brush.
Oh, okay.
If
Well,
you, Stan, if you have a chance to do the Google, what is it, like the street view, the drive-by, that you can
Yeah.
see what it was like.
All right.
Um,
All right, that's good information to know.
Yeah, I mean, my other thought, again, just sorry, one more time with this. If you keep it like an open channel stream restoration, I think it would be allowable to do like a 20-foot section where you can pipe it so that he can cross over it to get to the western side of the property. But I don't know. I mean, the point of this is to restore it too, not just to pipe it at the end of the day. So, my
Okay,
two
those
cents.
are all good thoughts. We'll take all those into account and we'll look at a couple of ideas.
So I'll say that, and this is field experience, 20 feet isn't really enough. And I know where you're getting this from, Jessica. But, even 40 feet or 60 feet would be best for what they're intending to use this for.
Okay. I don't
You guys-
farm, so that's fine. Whatever's needed, clearly. But it's a 250-foot stream. So, I mean, there's, if you wanted to do a 50-foot thing on 250 feet of stream, that's still, oh boy, 80% of it is naturalized versus in a pipe. So, in an area where there's priority habitat and, wetland vegetation, aquatic species, things like that, trying to renaturalize the habitat as much as possible, I think is important.
Okay, those are all good comments. We'll take all those into account as we march forward with this.
Jessica, I did bring up plants on the lower berm.
Yeah.
Is there anything specifically you want to see, or just a plant schedule,
You
sizes?
always see yourself on that end. They'll see you on there.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, you guys would be better at figuring out what restoration plants, but again, this is a mitigation for a full alteration of this feature. So I think there needs to be some mitigation for it versus just
Be
like one-on-one fixing it. if that makes sense. Sorry, I was distracted. But,
But, so,
All right, that's good. That's good information. So,
as long as we keep going forward, Stan, we appreciate you coming.
Absolutely.
Obviously, the check dams have worked. So,
and I think once the water slows down and more vegetation grows in there,
It's a standard gallery.
so
See,
I don't-
that's why.
I don't know if the water's
it's never gonna stop.
or slow down.
I don't know where, I'd love to know where it's coming from, but without doing it,
It's all high, the ledge is so high there.
I know, some,
is there an option to keep the check dams and then like naturalize in between them?
Yeah.
I mean, that's option C, maybe.
Only downside is would it get a heavy sedimentation.
I think if you did that, you'd wanna put one up at the top.
Yeah.
So, or some kind of a level spreader or something up here, so that
Mhm.
what comes off of here doesn't just get velocity and keep going. Something along there, and that's an option we can take a look at and then restore that to it without, and that way the water would, even if it hit this level spreader or check dam that would be up here, it wouldn't just get in the pipe and then go down to the bottom, it would
They
go
see you.
its way down through the swale.
So you know.
Yeah.
We'll look
Yeah,
at
I
that.
mean, I would like to see something that keeps it as natural as possible, personally.
This would restore what you see to a natural state, although there'd be a pipe underneath it.
Yeah.
And then with the pipe would be in a soil, like, you know,
Underneath the swale.
Yeah.
All right,
you're only looking at what, 1.9% pitch?
yeah, it's not real steep. So, all right, we'll look at some other, we'll keep going.
Yeah, and I guess some details on the lower retention,
Mm-hmm.
area, so,
Okay,
if he gets a contractor in there that knows how to manage the water, they
right.
can figure it out. Worst case, they can always put limit nets.
The other issue is that the owner has
I'm not,
not had a good relationship with a lot of people, so trying to find
I
somebody.
know, we're being recorded.
I know, I'm just saying, trying to find the right person may be challenging, but it's gonna have to do it.
But that's neither your problem
No, it's
nor
not.
our
Oh,
problem.
no,
Right.
I know, exactly.
We, as the commission, I mean, you guys do have just like a third party review. I think you do have the option to dictate who a contractor could be. So maybe, I mean, it doesn't need to be as formal as like bid solicitation, but you could find like a true stream restoration company or whatever, some sort of earthwork contractor who specializes in this versus just some local person.
I think the commission has the authority to do that.
We can,
Necessarily.
I don't know. I'd have
we
to
can
find out.
ask for a consultant.
You could ask for
But they-
someone's qualifications.
We can always, we can keep pushing. That was what was said last meeting to them, when I kind of lost it and said, find someone else if they can't do it. That was the line that we kept getting, and I understand the wetness side of things, but there's ways that you work around it.
Right, right.
So that could be a special condition, though, is that just like you guys put a condition in the enforcement order to have a PE do this, like you could do it to have a professional restoration contractor or whatever they're actually called do the work. So that's an option.
Get those around here.
Well, whether you can do that or not is secondary. If you were to do that, I can only imagine that it would just slow the process down immensely to find somebody that that you thought was affordable.
That's like,
Schedule them. So I don't know. I'm not sure you want to go down that road, but that's not my decision.
We'll find a Goldilocks. out there somewhere.
All right, I think we've talked about this enough. I'll let you guys go home because I need to go home.
Stan, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in, Stan.
Hopefully next meeting you can get us up more details on what you have. and
Yeah,
What we
we'll get-
discussed.
It may not be the next meeting, but it'll be soon.
Keep encouraging him to get this out.
Okay.
Thank you, Stan.
Thank you, Stan.
Eight 50.
Yep, it's 8:50.
Request for partial COC 15 South Street, DEP number 308-581A. Matt, can you give us a rundown of this and if you guys have been able to take a look at it?
So Jessica knows more about this than I do, but basically, an OOC that was issued back in 2010 for restoring, I believe it was the Harbor Dam. It was tied to this property 15 South because there was a point of egress to the site. And so now this site is tied with the open order of condition that was never issued as COC. And so the applicant is asking for a partial COC, so that way they're no longer tied to this. And they submitted a request for COC. They paid their portion of the fee. And Jessica went out there and took pictures. Went on a site visit, and I believe she thinks it's all set.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. Yeah, I think they would just be reusing it for stockpiling and access to do
Right.
dam work.
We need a motion and a second.
Make a motion to approve a partial certificate of compliance for 15 South Street, DEP 308-581A.
I'll second that.
Roll call vote, please.
Anna LaCoya, yes.
James Gates, yes.
Pat Jamal, yes.
Great. Pat, that will be in the stack of papers to sign in the mailbox.
Okay. Thank you.
3.2 mandatory referral notice from ZBA regarding 22 Main Street. Matt, Jessica, did you guys get a chance to ever visit the site and double check wetlands?
We did. We both went out there, and it seems like it's outside Conscom's jurisdiction, outside 200 feet.
Cool. So do we have a motion for no comment and a
Make a
second?
motion, that Conservation Commission have a no comment issued to the ZBA regarding 22 Main Street.
I'll second that.
Roll call vote.
Anna LaCoya, yes.
James Gates, yes.
Pat Jamal, yes.
Matt, that's in the miscellaneous materials folder.
Thank you, James.
3.3, upcoming May 17th, invasive species workshop discussion. So when Joan was on mission, she applied for the Wild and Scenic Stewardship Council. The training is scheduled for May 17th from 10 to 1 for invasive, non-native invasive plant training at Adams Dam area.
And I believe we've toned it down a little bit too from what Joan originally proposed. So correct me if I'm wrong, Jessica, but I don't think we're going to be doing the hardware class. I think it's going to be just hand removal.
That's
And
right, yeah.
Yep,
Yeah,
away,
that's right.
away from the bank, so that way we don't have to file an RDA.
Okay,
But yep.
I know that might be tough for you to do. Same with Pat, for mobility, but you're more than welcome. I'll try to be there, most likely will be.
Yeah, I have it on my calendar.
So
Yeah, to
I
that
know,
effect, we have in the Adams Dam parking lot, we have the Japanese knotweed. There was the big section, I guess, of barberry. That's like a 15-minute walk through the woods. So if anyone knows of any sections of barberry or just other invasive species in general in town that are more easily accessible, please let me know as soon as possible so we can maybe arrange to go to those instead. And so we can let our invasive workshop leader know so that they can prepare accordingly.
and the rec department and, whatever, the highways were invited.
Yep.
I don't-
The highway department and cemetery and parks are both invited, so should have a good group. Yeah, we've been talking to a woman from Land Stewardship, I think it's called Land Stewardship Inc., who's conducting the training. So we're in the process of getting it all squared away, and the weed wrenches are being ordered right now too. So we should have those in time for the training.
Okay, move on. 4.0 correspondence. Potential removal of Zero Bayberry Hill Road from Chapter 61B classification, parcel 17-2-0. Dear Board, please be advised that I represent Virginia F. Welch, the surviving owner of the above parcel, who intends on selling said parcel and removing it from Chapter 61B classification. The proposed use of the land upon the sale is for the construction of a single-family residence. And attaching to this letter of intent, the executed purchase and sale agreement, which I certify is a true and accurate copy. The assessor's map, which shows this parcel and its acreage as separately assessed, a proposed septic design and plan of land prepared in anticipation of the sale, which is to be recorded. Thank you for reviewing this matter. The provisions of Mass General Law 61B and the exercise of your right of first refusal. Very truly yours, Robert J. Myers. Oh, damn, 205,000.
Yeah, so we can't exactly afford it, I think. But we do technically have the right to match the market value of the property to keep it in 61B. I looked on a mass mapper. There's no wetlands anywhere nearby. It looks like mostly like a small plot of a lot of pine trees and one small, like, dilapidated shed near the street. But it looks like she's trying to sell the land and put a house on the land.
Yeah, it's list, or you drive by and it's got this for sale sign.
Okay, yep. Yeah, it's right by 22 Bayberry. In the corner of, I forget which road it is.
How many acres is it?
Is a good question. It's small.
Is it off of Clement?
Yep. Yeah, it's on the corner of Clements. I'm zooming in. It's too blurry for me to see here. Less than an acre.
No,
When I zoom in, it's too.
Lori, really? Or is it? Oh, Lori's not on. I was gonna say she must think this is crazy. All right, I digress. It's a little further. I want to say it's the 6 acre or the 4.7 acre one.
Oh,
Whatever.
okay.
That's insane. That is insane.
Was it 210,000?
205.
105?
Yeah, so it's not 22. It's 6 acres.
Oh, it's 6 acres. Okay.
get variance and go through houses.
Mm. Good, good. one.
All right, oh, right here. Yeah. 3.52 acres.
I'm surprised it's that big. It didn't look that big to me. But-
Feet of road frontage,
Yeah,
says,
360 plus, 440. Okay, so we've completely digressed now.
Yep.
Gone down a rabbit hole that, shouldn't be, but, yeah, that's crazy. All right.
we're gonna hop right out now.
Well,
We're gonna hop right out of the rabbit hole.
Planning board transmittal of decision regarding 22 Main Street. Please find attached the notice of decision and decision for a site plan review special permit granted, with conditions. I'm not gonna read off everything unless, Matt, did you look at this? Is there any conditions that we need to worry about?
Nope, just letting us know that it's been granted.
So 4.3. So, Jim reached out and, to let us know, the highway department will be milling and resurfacing Barker Hill Road from Dudley Road to the New Hampshire state line. There's a small stream that crosses the road. This work will not alter or affect the stream in any way. We will put a straw wattle for extra precautions. There are several drainage culverts as well as drainage ditches that, we will be cleaning out where needed. And we will be adding stone to the road edges to prevent erosion from water runoff. If you have any questions, concerns, or would like to meet out there to go over it more in depth, please reach out. And Jessica said she'll drive it and meet, schedule something with Jim.
Okay,
I know there's a stream going halfway up, or not even halfway, but I think around 54. Barker Hill, and
we
then
just talked that.
Yeah, we have it planned for Monday, I believe. We're gonna go out there.
yeah, it's not.
No, that's different.
Oh, did I have it mixed up with something?
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Never mind.
Yeah, no, there's no priority habitat though along Bayberry Hill, which is, or whatever it is, Barbary Hill. So,
Barker.
that's good. But I'll just take a quick drive, make sure there's nothing like super wetlandy to be cautious of.
Well, around 54 is the stream crossing, and then up past 132, I think 134, there's a culvert crossing that is wet on the side of the road, really wet. And I had to encourage him to put some proper drainage in there,
Okay.
or at least a swale and replace it. I don't know how much influence we have on this, but anytime that we can encourage them or give them our blessing or offer our support for them to replace these culvert pipes when they're resurfacing these roads.
Mm-hmm.
There's one on Bayberry Hill that the end started to collapse on it, and that road was just paved 2 years ago.
Mhm.
And that's by a swamp. So,
Okay. So I can set up a visit. I don't know when. I'll try. I don't know. I'll try. And then James, I'll let you know and you can tag along. If
Well,
you can.
if it's too difficult for you, I can meet with Jim, but I think as a conservation commission, we should encourage them, offer our support, whatever, to prevent, possible, problems down the road could cause even more issues.
Okay.
Education conferences. MACC always has stuff. We have the invasives training May 17th. items for discussion at the next meeting. We have chapter 150. We have 158 Main Street.
114 Highland RDA, 12 South RDA, and 158 Fitchburg NOI.
Okay.
We have 3 site visits for you guys next week for 2 RDAs and 1 NOI. So I will email those on Monday morning. So
Okay.
just heads up.
Thank you. So next meeting is May 10th, 2023 at 7 p.m. Board of Select Chambers, 2nd floor. This meeting will be held virtual Zoom, remote, in accordance with COVID-19 safe meeting guidelines. Can I get a motion to adjourn at 9:06?
Make a motion to adjourn at 9:06.
I'll second that.
Roll call, please.
Pamela Cleary, yes.
James Gates, yes.
Pat Joel, yes.
All right. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Have a
Have
good
a nice
night.
night. Yep. Have a nice night, everybody.
Matt, thank you.